You paid it last month. You paid it again this month. So why does the number still look almost the same? You can see the money leaving, but you can't see the progress. And after a while, that stops feeling normal. You're not missing payments. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, but the balance doesn't respond the way you expect. And that's when the question changes. From how long will this take to why isn't this working? That question has an answer, because your debt doesn't just sit there. It follows a system, and that system decides what your payment actually does. In owl world, when an owl owes something, they carry a balance, and that balance is made of two parts: what they originally borrowed and what gets added over time. That original amount is called the principal. It's the actual debt, the part that needs to go to zero. But when you make a payment, it doesn't go straight to the principal. You're not paying your debt first. You're paying the system first. Now you might be asking, what does OWL mean? Basically, the system takes what's been added before it reduces what you originally owed. That added amount is called interest. It's the cost of carrying the balance over time. And it's calculated based on how much is still there. So before you reduce your debt, you're paying for the fact that it still exists. So your payment has two jobs. First, to cover interest. Secondly, to reduce the principal. But interest doesn't wait for you. It's added every cycle, whether you pay or not, which is why you'll often see a new amount added even before your next payment is due. And it's added based on the remaining balance. So even when you're doing everything right, the system is still adding weight. So each cycle follows the same sequence. The balance grows with interest. You make a payment. That payment clears interest first, and only what remains from the payment reduces the principal. So your full payment never reduces your debt. Only the leftover does, which means most owls aren't paying off debt. They're just slowing it down. In some cases, you can pay for months and still owe almost the same amount. And if the principal doesn't drop much, then the next cycle starts from almost the same level, which means the next interest charge stays high. So the system never resets. It just keeps continuing. So the system feeds into itself. High balance leads to high interest, which takes more of your payment, which keeps the balance high. And that loop is where most people get stuck. That's when it stops feeling slow and starts feeling like nothing is changing. And this is where payment size matters. If your payment is small, then most of what you pay only covers the interest and barely touches the principal. You're not escaping the debt. You're maintaining it. You're not paying to get out. You're paying to stay in. And that's not accidental. Some payment structures are designed to keep the balance active while still requiring you to pay. So you enter a loop where you're paying consistently, but mostly maintaining the debt instead of reducing it. And this shows up differently depending on the type of debt. Some debts are structured so early payments mostly cover interest, which is why things like revolving balances can feel like they barely move, while more structured repayments change more predictably over time. Now stretch that across time, month after month. You repeat the same cycle and over longer periods. That pattern stabilizes. You keep paying. The system keeps taking, and the principal barely moves. That's why it feels stuck, because your effort is real, but most of it is absorbed before it creates visible progress. So what determines your progress is not just that you're paying, but how much of your payment actually reaches the principal. So when your debt barely shrinks, even when you're paying, you're not doing nothing wrong. You're just operating inside a system. That reduces your impact. And once you see that, the question changes again. Because it's not just about paying. It's about changing what your payment does. What increases the portion? That actually reduces the principal. And what keeps most of it from doing that? Because until that changes, you can stay consistent and still stay in the same position, paying, but barely moving, again and again. and again until you understand what actually changes the outcome and what finally shifts your payments from maintaining the system to finally breaking out of it. Because if you don't just stay in debt. You stay in the system that keeps it alive. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share. Join the family by subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and Owl will see you on the next one.